Hello, Chemistry 10HH students. This is Mrs. Altman. We are on video number 25, Stoichiometry Part 6. This is the last video of Chapter 3. Here are our objectives for today's video. Pause here. So at this point, we've most likely done a virtual lab on this, so you have some idea of what the limiting reagent is. Reagent is just another word for a reactant. It is a chemical that you run out of first, similar to the example. I think there were sandwiches, and if you ran out of bread, then bread was the limiting reagent. And it is only the quantity of the limiting reagent that determines the theoretical yield, meaning the maximum quantity that you can produce. Pause here. So when you have a limiting reagent calculation, what that really will look like is that you're starting with two numbers instead of one number. You must set up a problem for all of the reactants, and then you have to compare the products, the number that you get after doing the calculation. Whichever number is lower is going to be your theoretical yield, and the reactant that led you to that number will be the limiting reagent. Let's look at an example with this. Pause here. So you've already seen this chemical equation before. We're just going to use it again. So I have to do both calculations. And I'm going to be looking for grams of water. All right, so I'm just looking at my products, and so 11.8 is going to be lower than 31.4. That means I'm going to run out of oxygen first. So O2 is the limiting reagent, and the theoretical yield is 11.8 grams of oxygen. Pause here. So we've already discussed theoretical yield. It's just the expected amount of product, but experimentally, you don't typically get exactly 100% of that. So the actual yield or the experimental yield is the amount that you actually get in experiment, and the percent yield is just actual over theoretical times 100. Pause here. So causes of low yield, meaning under 100%, they're not necessarily, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have a low percent yield depending on the reaction. It could be because of side reactions, meaning that a different reaction is happening besides the one you want to happen. It could be that there's like insufficient heat. There's some sort of reaction condition that is off, like related to like humidity in the air. And then human error. Human error is different from human mistakes. Human error just means that there's random fluctuations in the measurement, like the uncertain places changing. There's not much you can do about that. That is fundamentally different from a human mistake, though. Pause here. So causes of high yield, these are a little bit different. If you get something above 100%, that means you did something wrong because you can't violate the law of conservation of mass. So that's a mistake. Like you didn't dry your product. That's usually the reason. Contamination, usually from water, or that the product is unclean or impure in some other way, shape, or form. Thank you so much for watching and have a great night.